Hello. Today's topic is nature writing, and specifically, we're going to talk here about how to write nature description through the principle of unity. And so, unity means basically staying on topic. Now, if you can imagine like an orchestra, if you've got this, they're creating a dominant impression, a dominant effect with this orchestra, an emotion that builds up and builds as it goes along. Now, if you've got like a pianist who's hitting all the wrong notes, it's going to destroy that piece of, that's going to destroy the emotion and create irritation instead in the audience. So it's the same thing with being a writer. Edgar Allan Poe, the famous writer, said, look, every word, every single word in my short stories has to be carefully chosen in order to create a dominant impression. And that's the same thing we want to do when we write, like, let's say, a paragraph of description, is every single word should be on key, and if not, then it should be edited a few times until that is the case. So let's say take for example the Aleutian Islands. Let's take let's just say we're talking about Dutch Harbor up in the Aleutian Islands, and let's say we want to focus on. I mean, it's an incredibly beautiful place. In another video, I'll give another description of it with a different dominant impression, because it's a magnificent place. But let's just be negative for a moment here, and let's say, because sometimes we have a negative character in our fiction, a gloomy character, and in which case that's their worldview. That's how they see the world. So let's do that. Let's talk about the Dutch Harbor through the point of view of a negative person. Now, every image, every detail, every word should point towards sad and lonely. That's what we're going for here. Now, you want to avoid telling, but sometimes it's okay to start with to tell one time, and then after that show. So if you want a little bit of telling, okay, but you want to emphasize showing. So the bleak sights made me feel sad and lonely. That's telling, okay. But if I stop there, then I've pretty much done a lousy job. But I want to keep going and make this more entertaining. The bleak sights made me feel sad and lonely. Standing on the snow-dusted mountains, I braced myself against the cold, miserable wind. The wildflowers with shallow petals whipped back and forth. I couldn't see a tree anywhere. Brown, lifeless grass smothered this steep slope mountainside right up to the snow line. Looking down toward Unalaska Village, the empty Russian Orthodox church with its green-topped domes and blood-red roof stood out from the other buildings and shadowed the graveyard. Rows of broken-down fishing boats lay tragically in the nasty-colored water of the harbor. Shivering aluminum buildings lined the shore where a girl with a hunched posture lumbered along in rain slickers and kicked shells. Even up this high, I noticed the smell of dead fish blowing up from the oppressive fish processing plants. Seagulls floundered helplessly in the wind, and their eerie calls filled the air. So there you go. I've painted a pretty gloomy picture of Dutch Harbor, I think, of Unalaska Village. And it's all because all of the details were unified. That's the key point here. They all were going for that dominant impression, which I stated in my topic sentence there of that paragraph. The bleak sights made me feel sad and lonely. Now, if there was a wonderful wedding that that happened last week, I'm not going to want to mention that, because that would be positive and happy, and that will break the whole mood, and then the whole paragraph will pretty much not have any. It'll be going in different directions, and it won't be unified. So I'll leave out anything that's going to break the emotion that I'm going for. So there you go. That's called description through unified writing, unified description, and dominant emotions. There you go. From the writer's cabin, right on.